Hi all you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Elaine, and today I'm going to be unboxing this Sega Yumemirize Fern in those days figure from Frieren. I am really excited to open this one. It really caught my eye because it's one of the few that depicts Fern or any other character in anime when we first met them, when they were younger. Usually when we see figures, they are the full-grown version of the character, and it's nice to see something that's a little different because it's innocent and it's cute, and it reminds us where they started and how we first met them and how they've grown throughout the length of the show or the manga or however you happen to be consuming the material that the figure is based off of. And that really appealed to me. I think this is going to be a nice addition to my shelf. I'm really looking forward to opening it because it is different and because I think it really highlights who she was in the beginning when everything started back in those days. Now, without any further ado, I'm going to get this figure open and give my thoughts. So this is what it looks like right out of the box. It's just in the protective plastic and it's wrapped in additional protective tissue that is plastic. And it doesn't look like she has a base. It looks like she's just sitting and her clothes that are pulling around her, the fabric, form the base for this figure. So there's going to be no assembly required, which is also something really nice. Usually there is some assembly required. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get the different pieces together. Sometimes they don't work super well and they fall apart and the figure is very unstable. And that's not going to be the case here. And I'm really excited to see that. So I'm going to remove her plastic casing and show you what this looks like and provide my final thoughts. So this is what the figure looks like when it's completely out of the box, out of the plastic, no assembly required, which again is amazing. And I think overall she looks very good, but there are a few little things that I will point out. Her hair isn't particularly defined and it's also defined in two sections. You see this with a lot of lower end figures where like the front section of her head has like the line dividing the front. So you see that right there with the split in the hair, and then the back. It's not very well defined hair. It is ombre, lightly ombre, so it's darker at the bottom and a little bit of lighter on top, but like you can't really make out the individual strands very well. They didn't put a lot of time into that portion of the figure, and that I think is a sign of just its price point, which hovers around $30. You see that with a lot of lower end figures. I do think overall it looks good, but not great. I think they really captured the color of her hair very nicely, which sometimes you kind of don't see with the funkier hair colors. And by that, I mean anything that's not your traditional like brunette, blonde, redheaded character. You'll see that sometimes like the blue is too light or it's too dark, or the green is too bright or too dark. But this, I think, captured the color perfectly. I do like the little bow butterfly ornament on her hair. I think it adds a nice touch. But overall, the hair is not particularly impressive. I think they could have spent a little more time defining the hair and then hiding that seam line over here, maybe by creating like a band over it, like a headband, and having that attached to the bow here. So it was a bow attached to a headband, and then you could just keep everything else as it was. I think they captured the color of her eyes and her skin pretty well, and also the paleness of the dress that she's usually depicted wearing, and her cloak. I think overall they got the color scheme down. I think they have a nice little innocent, if not slightly blank expression. I think that in general, more early on than later, especially with Frieren more than Fern, like the expressions were a little more muted. So I think that kind of reflects where they were in time with the show, but not necessarily the character. I think this moment's a little awkward and not necessarily entirely reflective of who Fern is as a character, even though in general, I like that she's, reaching for something and you're left wondering what she's reaching for. Because really early on, she was trying to prove herself. She wanted to prove that she could take care of herself, that she could be a mage, that she was worth taking along on this journey. And I think when you see her reaching like that, it kind of reflects where she was as a character. She's reaching for something, but we're not sure what, and we can kind of speculate based off of what we know of her, but not really know for sure. I do think that the expression doesn't necessarily express that sentiment. I don't think it really is in line with her posture so much. It just seems a little flat. I would have liked a slightly more expressive face, but it doesn't need to be over the top or really grand. Just something that keeps in line with the posture of the figure, which overall I think is good, if not a little awkward. I remember sitting like this as a kid, and if I tried it now, I'd be very uncomfortable. But overall, I think it's cute. You can see some more just defining lines here in the back of the cloak, and not so much with the feet. It's just it's completely flat on the bottom, which is kind of interesting. And it says, KYTAASFP Sega China, and then the number. But in general, I think it's very reflective of who she was as a person at this point in time. For the most part, I think it's got the proportions and the shades down, and just this idea of that she's reaching for something and trying to grow at this point very well. But again, I would have liked a little more of the expression. I would have liked that they hid some more of these like little defining lines, the separation lines, that they define the hair a little better, maybe added a little more darkness to the cloak so it has more of a contrast point, because it's almost like this grayish black right now, and not like that true like dark black color you see a lot. But overall, I think this is really cute. I think it's an adorable little figure. I think it's well done for its price point, although it could be made better. And I think overall, it's a very nice addition to my shelf. It's something that makes me think of, you know, my own journey when I'm, you know, growing up and maturing. It makes me think about where I started. It makes me think about where this character started and how much they've grown and matured throughout the course of her story, and how I have come to appreciate her and that journey and going on that journey with her. I think it's just that constant reminder of, hey, look how far we've come. And I really, really like that. I think this is something worth adding to your shelf if you really like Fern or the show Frieren overall, or the manga or anything else. And there you have it. That's my unboxing and review of Sega's Frieren Fern Yumemirize in Those Days figure. What did you think of my unboxing and review? Did I leave anything out? Did I inspire you to go pick up this figure? Let me know down below in the comments. I always like to know what you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens think. And if you like what you saw here today, please smash that like button until it's blue. Subscribe, ring that bell so you'll always know what's up, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys.